What's up, everybody? StackingSurfer here, your go-to source for all things gold, silver, and platinum, and some mining stocks too, by the way. Anyway, we're going to talk about gold, silver, and platinum today. That's our focus. And I'm going to talk about what's happening with the gold to silver price. Am I buying? Am I selling? And I want to tell you guys why I'm doing it. I think this is going to be one of the most important videos I've ever made as well, because I'm really going to dive into what's happening with the trends. So stick around until the end. I'll give you 3 tips. This is going to be one of my most important videos you guys have ever seen. Kidding.
StackingSurfer, the life can't become your best friend. Balances in your bank instead.
Gold and silver has been on a tear. Gold technically broke out of its 15-year cup and handle back last year when it exceeded $1,800, okay? And it's been on a tear ever since, okay? It has started to pull silver up. And then all of a sudden, we saw silver get to 40. And that was a huge number for us. We didn't know if we were going to get past 35. And when it hit 40 and it stayed there, oh my gosh, people were freaking out. And then it hit 45. And then it started to approach 50. And everybody's like, wait a second. And silver has now broken out of its 45-year cup and handle at 50. This year, we had our first $50 close on silver ever priced in US dollars. We daily and the weekly. And I believe this month is going to be our first time we've ever had a monthly close on it. Well, I think we'll also see at the end of the year, we'll have our quarterly close on it too. So here's the deal. Gold and silver are going up, not for the reason that some of you think, but for other reasons, okay? And definitely the people making the posts on X that we're going to go down to $15 silver have no idea what they're talking about. This is not 1980. This is not 2011 for silver, okay, guys? We're not having a triple top. We didn't just hit this thing and it's going to come crashing back down. Now, as you guys may know, gold tends to take off first and then silver follows. Now, usually that happens much further down the road than it does right now. We haven't even had gold really go much more than a year on its run, and all of a sudden silver's starting to pick up a little bit. But I would argue that silver has not started running yet. We've had some big days, and we've had a bad day on Friday if you want the price to go up. But it was not a pullback. A lot of people were saying this is a pullback. It's not a pullback, guys. Pullbacks are when you get up to about 10%, okay? Some people will say 5 to 10%. I look at it as about a 10% correction. That starts the pullback all the way to about a, let's call it 15% or so, maybe 20%, okay? Once you've hit 20%, it's definitely a correction. Once you've hit 30%, it's definitely a crash, okay? And you go beyond that, you're in that crash territory. So, they'll kind of get close to each other, right? And the terminology may be used by different people for different reasons. In the Bitcoin community, you had a lot of people cheering, look, everybody's moving out of gold back into Bitcoin. Well, I would argue not a lot of people moved from Bitcoin into gold in the first place. That's not what's going on here. This is also not just inflation hedging that's going on, okay? And it's also not just a situation where we have a cyclical market that's going on. No, what's happening, guys, is we're having a capital rotation from stocks into gold and into silver, okay? And I'm going to tell you this right now. Stick around because we're going to talk about a handful of things here that are going on that you guys need to be watching in the news to determine if you're going to be buying or selling. And I'm going to tell you what I did, and I'm going to tell you what I picked up recently too, okay? But what's been happening in general over the last several years is the bullion banks have been shorting silver and gold. This year they seem to, I wouldn't say necessarily giving up, but they're losing. They're losing the battle. And in addition to that, we have central banks buying all the gold. Okay, they're not selling it, guys. They're buying it. They're taking it off the market. When you understand that they're taking it off the market, then price doesn't matter that much. Do you want something that's about to be taken off the market for good? They're not going to put it back on there. So what are they planning? They're planning a financial reset. And these resets can take quite a bit of time. Okay, so I don't think it's happening this year. I don't even think it's happening next year. I'm guessing it probably happens sometime in 2030, the 2030s. But I do think we're getting closer and closer to it. And also, it can happen super fast without you even being aware of it too. It just depends on what they really are planning and how the circumstances play out. Silver, they're starting to talk about silver reserves now. The United States just came out and said we're going to do a silver reserve. That is also a little bit hawkish on war too. We need silver for war, robotics, computers, chips. energy production. And right now we are using more silver every year than we pull out of the ground. Now there's not a lot of silver dedicated mines. Silver and gold going, they're going up. Are we going to have pullbacks? We should. And pullbacks are good. Okay, having a 10% correction, and there's, see, those are the words. They kind of get a little confusing. Having a 10% pullback, let's just say, is healthy. Okay. And it can really help establish things, especially if you end up with a multi-month period of time where you are consolidating and then you have a descending wedge and you break out again. Okay. Charting stuff. Having a correction, that's painful. That can hurt. I don't see us having those corrections unless we have a massive stock market crash and we have a liquidity crisis where people are having to sell gold and silver to pay off the banks with their margin loans on crypto and stocks. Okay. Short of that, I think you'll continue to see the motion up and you might see a little bit of pullback here and there, which means that we're more the floor continues to move higher. Okay. So you have higher lows. Okay. That's an important thing to realize too, because a lot of people are still fixated in thinking that we're going to go down to $25 silver, $30 silver. I think those days are gone. Unless we have a 1929 stock market crash, then all bets are off. In a situation like that, you'll be glad you have the gold and silver, even if the price goes down. All right. The other thing I want to point out to you guys right now on what's happening is we have billionaires are starting to buy gold and silver. David Bateman bought $800 million of silver last year, and he bought 400 million in gold. Okay, which is awesome. Now he bought, it looks like pure bullion. I don't know that he bought any coins, so he's like a mega stacker. All right. But let me tell you what's going on and what I'm doing. I've been buying. I have added a significant amount. If I've got the liquidity for it, now's a good time to convert it. It's not FOMO. I would not go and put money on a credit card. I would not go borrow against your house to go buy gold and silver right now. And as always, I cannot give you financial advice. This is not financial advice. It's just me, some crazy guy with glasses, rambling about gold and silver. But what I will tell you is I started looking for product that I could find at good prices. So I found things that were bars, I found rounds, and I found some sovereign coins too, as well as some junk silver or constitutional silver. So I found kind of a good mix of that. I also found some good deals on some gold too. So that's what I looked at. I made some decisions based on that, and I was able to pull the trigger. Am I still buying? I'm going to still be buying as things are going up. I don't think, um, prices above here are ridiculous. I still think now is a good time to buy. Now, at 60, is it still a good time to buy silver? And at, let's say 4,500, is it still a good time to buy gold? I think it will be, but we'll explore that when we get closer to it. Now, platinum is an interesting one. Up until now, I've only had 2 ounces of platinum, and I actually significantly increase that stack too. Now, I only do that after I have all the constitutional silver that I want, and I have my gold plan in place and my silver plan in place. And I do have memberships if you guys want to put together that your plan with me. I'm happy to do that. I do have one-on-one mentorships as well as um, basically live streams just for members too. So down below is a link for that. I'd love to have you guys join. It supports the channel and it gives you some more personalized touch. Okay. So when we look at plans, I'm not a financial planner. It's not doing that, but it's looking at the plan for you and what you might want to consider. You got to go do your own homework and make those decisions. But when you start hitting your plan, for me, that's where platinum comes into play. It's a little bit more of a risky play that could have a lot of upside to it. Same with mining guys. The latest thing I picked up was constitutional silver. Now, I think that's the best buy right now. When you see this video, I would call an LCS. I would go online and I'd start to see what is selling, what's the price selling for constitutional silver or junk silver. I'm hearing places going as much as $3 below melt. Okay, that's awesome. So see what you can do on that. You might be able to get a huge deal on it. Now, when people don't want this stuff and they're doing discounts like that, that's the time to buy. Okay, that's tip number one. You buy when people don't want it. Same with pre-33 gold, guys. I don't know why people aren't buying more of that stuff. It's like completely on sale right now. So these things are cyclical in nature. They will become more valuable at some time. There's going to be a time where people are starting to freak out about apocalypse, about the end of the world, World War III, and food scarcity, famine, stuff like that. That's when your constitutional silver is going to go through the roof, and you'll be glad you have it at that time. And you might, if you overbought, you might even want to sell some of it back and and hope that you can buy it lower again. Usually you will be able to, right? I don't think anything's ending anytime soon. 333 gold, on the other hand, that tends to become a lot more expensive when the big boys, okay, and I don't mean the big boys, right? But the big boys, the people that have millions of dollars in the bank, tens of millions of dollars in the bank, $100 million in the bank, up to some billionaires, right? These are the guys that go and buy the pre-33 gold because they don't want a massive safe in their house full of gold. Okay. They want a coin that's worth 30,000 bucks, $50,000, $20,000. And as these coins are purchased, it pulls the price up of these collectibles. The collectible market will always be around as long as there's a civilization. If we get to the point where there is no more civilization, well, then you've got your bullion, you've got your sovereign coins, you've got your constitutional junk silver. That'll take care of you, and you hold on to the gold as a relic. Okay, but I really don't think that's going to happen. Now, there is an added bonus with pre-33 gold. Many believe that it can help with confiscation should we have that again. I can't tell you that they're going to do it. I don't know, but they have in the past. I don't know why they wouldn't in the future. Now, they're never going to come to your house to take stuff. It's going to be in the form of either a tax or it's going to be in the form of, taking money out of the IRAs. So if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Third party risk can be an issue. However, for those of you that do have a lot of money, I do recommend vaulting at least some of it off site. You'll probably have enough at your house that if everything goes to crap, you're fine. But having it off site can protect you. It can be insured in case there's ever a home robbery or anything like that. It's something that I like to do. Tip number 2 is look for good deals on pre-33 gold right now. Okay, guys. If you're new to it, look for the less expensive stuff, an MS61, 62. You can oftentimes find those for about the same price as like a gold eagle. Okay, you might even be able to find them a little bit lower than that. Mind you, these things were going for about $500 to $1,000 more just a couple years ago than a gold eagle. The last thing I'll say for tip number 3 is this. Don't be afraid to sell. If you guys have a circumstance where you need to sell metals, it's okay to do that. Also, don't be afraid to buy. Okay, the momentum and the pattern is up. Okay, guys, we are in the beginning of a bull run. Right now, I would say that we are in the bottom of the second inning for the World Series of Gold. And we may even be just starting into the third inning of that. And with silver, we're actually just watching the national anthem. Okay. Silver's going to be doing some crazy stuff. Now, I have not yet gone and sold a bunch of gold for silver. I am tempted to do that. But I've been buying a lot more silver than I have been gold. And so for me, I'm trying to figure out my ratios a little bit better right now and what I might do, but I'll share that in an upcoming video. If this has been helpful, please hit the subscribe, the bell icon, and also the thumbs up so more people can find it. Consider becoming a member. Leave a comment down below. What would you guys like to see covered on a video? What are your thoughts? Am I crazy? Do you think I'm up in the night? Look, I may not be right, but this is the trend I'm seeing. I can feel the momentum in the air. I feel this in my gut. And for me, it's not FOMO. FOMO would be just buying stupid stuff with money I don't have. Okay. This is not FOMO. There's a momentum that's going and it's going to happen. Are we going to have pullbacks? We hopefully will. So you can buy more. And if we don't, we run a greater risk of having crashes too. So as always, guys, be good, have fun, peace out.